I don't know how the episode topic came up today, but it's wild because I had a dream corresponds to what we're talking about today. And it was a really weird dream. It was one of those dreams, like a weird thing happened in the dream, but I Googled that really weird thing. And the shit that I found on the internet about my dream and how insanely like parallel it is to my experience and like what I'm living, but also like this episode is wild. And I just had to share it with you guys. And this is not a joke. You guys tell the audience you've never heard this dream.
No,
I'm at the edge of my seat. You told us you had a wild dream.
Yeah, she said I have a wild dream. And I said, okay, tell us. She said, no, I'm not. I'm waiting until we record to tell you. Wait, Josie, what is it?
Okay, so in my dream, I was asleep. And I got a text from my manager, Priya. Shout out Priya.
Love Priya.
And she said in my dream, so I guess I sent her a photo of my living room, okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, in the corner of the picture, I can see that you left the gas on
the
stove.
Nope.
And there's like all the burners are on. And so in my dream, I woke up, still in a dream, looked and saw that all the burners were on the stove, like on.
Okay.
Then I woke up in real life and saw that she was texting me about something completely different. But I was like, that's a really weird dream to have. But also, what a coincidence that she texted me. But that wasn't even the weirdest thing to happen because I feel like a lot of people have dreams of people texting them.
Yeah.
They, like maybe subconsciously see it, whatever. So I disregarded that. But I was like, that dream was weird, right? So I looked it up online and I started reading article after article of what does it mean when you dream about like a stove being on, like burners being on.
Oh my God.
And let me read you what one of the articles said.
Okay.
And you can look this up. And
I believe you. I believe you.
You are afraid of losing your companion and ending up alone. Being very proud and haughty, you would find it very challenging to acknowledge the situation. If you are single, dreaming about leaving the stove on means that you lack self-esteem when it concerns seduction. You don't dare to take the first step. Dreaming about leaving the stove on proves that you are afraid of rejection. You prefer to play indifferent and take control of the situation. Yet your magnificence is no more to be established.
Josie?
Strict, timid, and sensible, you find it rough to let go. You may miss out on a fantastic encounter if you remain and reject.
Wait, no. I just
insane is that?
The one part where I swear to God, Josie, you were reading, I don't know if you looked, Alycia and I looked at each other. Jaws dropped because you said you crave control because of the lack of self-esteem because you're afraid to be alone. Josie.
Okay, wait. Okay, this is like scarily, like really specific. How do you feel about it, Josie? No, Josie, how do you feel like reading that? What did it mean to you?
I felt that, well, okay, so then hold on. Then I also saw another article, and this is just like one short paragraph of what it said. And it said, leaving the stove on suggests your negative outlook, deteriorating thoughts, and crumbling ideals. There's a situation you're trying to avoid or hide from. Your actions will result in an unpleasant outcome. The dream points at your caring, supportive, and giving nature. You're shutting others out and closing off your emotions. And my castmate, like my two castmates who are two of my closest friends here, Emmy and Aubrey were saying that like, because something did happen like a few weeks ago that was like kind of a downer, and they kept asking me about it, and I was like, I'm fine, like I genuinely haven't cried about it, like whatever. And so when I saw that, I was like, should I just start crying right now at 4 a.m. alone in my bedroom? And I was like, no, that's kind of fucking cringy. But I was like, honestly, that would be a funny story to tell. So then I found myself trying to make myself cry, which I later realized, which is even like cringier, that I was like alone.
That you just, I can imagine you at 4 a.m. at the edge of your fucking bed, just looking like this, pushing tears.
So how do I feel about that? I feel like, wow, that's crazy that dreams are, as Sigmund Freud said, a representation of our unconscious fears and desires. Mm-hmm. And also like, damn, that's true. Like I am afraid of all those things. And also the podcast came into my mind, and how I was so excited that today we are going to meet and talk about how to give and receive love and parentheses.
Give and receive.
Because I think that dream ties into why that is really hard for me. And that's been something that I've had to learn. So with that being said, should we get into it and divulge that even more?
Let's
Absolutely.
dig into it.
Okay, you guys, how are you feeling about this today?
I'll be honest, like, I am timid to talk about love. And man, if you know anything about me, your girl can talk. But there are some topics that I definitely have difficulty discussing, and one of them is love. Like, I don't enjoy talking about love. But it's also, like, very ironic because I always want to lead in love, and I hope to, like, embody love and bring joy and light into people's life. But when we talk about, like, my preferences when it comes to love, or like my attachment style and things like that, I really, really struggle. Like, I struggle to articulate what I need and what love means to me on a personal level. So being candid to talk about this topic today definitely won't be the easiest, but I think that's why I need to lean into it.
How do you feel about love in general? I know that's a broad question, Yasmine, but when it comes to giving and receiving love, like, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I think of love, I think that I put it in two different files in my brain. I have familial, platonic, and I have romantic. And how I give and receive is very different. For me, I'm a very physical person. Affection is huge for me. Physical affirmation. I don't even need someone to tell me how much I mean to them. I need someone to just hold me, to just like touch my arm and say, not even say anything, but just know that, for me to know that you're there for me.
It's like the reassurance.
The reassurance. And I think it's because, like, growing up, like, I was sleeping next to my parents and siblings for a long, like, at like a weird age. Like, literally, even at this age, when I'm at home, like, sometimes when I'm having a shit night, I will cuddle up next to my parents.
Yeah.
At 24 years old. Yeah. And, like, that's not a weird thing, but I think it's so prevalent of who I am and how I give and receive. But a lot of times people aren't physical. And then I'm like, do they not love me? Do they not care for me? But everyone, like, Alycia is not she's a touching person, but she doesn't know how to, for me, sometimes show it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, does she love me? But she gives love in a different way than I receive.
Well, I think that's a testament to just like us all needing like different forms of love.
Yeah.
And we prioritize different things. Like, I think for you, it's definitely like words of affirmation and physical
touch. You just said not words of affirmation.
What?
Words of affirmation aren't mine. It's just physical touch. And like,
I would say, like, for you, it's both.
Sure.
Because I'll be honest, like, living with you, I would have the reassurance, or I would give you the reassurance of physically being with you from sun up to sundown. And then you would look me in the face and be like, I need you to tell me you love me. And I'm like, girl, what? I've done everything with you. I've had every meal. I've done everything. But that's fine, because you need different things. And it's also like, it's a conversation. Sometimes someone loving you is beautiful, but it's not enough, because like we all have different requirements.
It's not enough. Like, you need to love yourself in order to get and give love, period.
Yeah, for sure.
So Alycia, how do you give and receive love?
Honestly,
or how do you view, just in broader terms,
how do I view love?
like, the idea of giving and receiving love?
I think giving love is a lot easier for me.
So giving for you is easier. I'd say the same for me, but continue.
Yeah, no, for sure. Giving love, it comes natural to me. I think that is just like how I live my life. Like, I want to serve people. I want to be a servant. I want to be a light, and I want to bring joy to people.
Yeah.
So appeasing people is very easy for me. But I've learned that that's not sustainable. Like, you can't give from an empty well.
No.
And I've had to learn that you also can't love people to the fullest if you don't love yourself, if you don't show up for yourself. And these are lessons that I'm still learning. And honestly, it's a funny question. Like, oh, how do I receive love? I think I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And I think that also that's a continuous journey throughout your entire life. I think different phases and seasons in your life require different things. But right now, I think I receive love by like the time and the memories that I make with people, which like I've had the beautiful blessing of doing with you, Josie, and doing with you, Yaz. But receiving is still really hard for me. And I still am learning how to like articulate that like it's okay for me to have needs. And yeah, so I'm still very much on that journey. And honestly, I don't know how I'm doing in regards to like receiving love. But I know that, man, I know how to live in love. Because that is honestly, like, not to be cliche, that is my goal in life. It's to like leave everything that I come to better then I came to it.
Yeah.
And that is just like being the embodiment of love. Whether I agree with someone or not, just trying to strive for that to be the foundation of everything. But what about you guys?
Yeah, and I would have to say in regards to giving and receiving and which one is easier for me, I feel like giving as well because I love hard. And I really pride myself in that. And I think with love comes pain. And there's beauty in that in some fucked up way. But receiving too, I'm not going to lie to you. I do a pretty good job of receiving love because I need to be loved.
Yeah.
And maybe that's
I think you receive the best out of all of us.
I agree.
I think you're the best at receiving out of the three of us.
I receive all the time, every day. Okay, Josie.
Yeah.
So
for me, okay, in broad terms, when I see the sentence giving and receiving love, for me, romantic love is something that I've always been very scared of. And I don't think I realized how scared I was until I started playing in the game of it, like enlisting myself in the military. That is the dating game, and that is love, because
that is the Hunger Games.
It's the Hunger Games.
It's literally the Hunger Games here. I think for a lot of people, like giving is easier on surface, right? Because when you're giving, you are in control of it. You are in control of how much you're giving,
and you dictate how invested you are.
Yeah, exactly. You have control. You dictate how invested you are. And you also understand you reap the benefits of that all the time. Like there's no chance of giving love that like you're not reaping the benefits of unless it's not being reciprocated.
Sure.
But then that has to do with receiving, right? So I'm just talking about giving. You know? Unless you're self-sabotaging and you're giving it to someone who doesn't deserve it, giving is always going to be easier.
Which is a common thing. Which is a
common.
Common.
100%. So then when we talk about why is it so hard to receive, I think it's because of many different factors. How we're raised, how we're taught that love should be given, what our attachment style is, how our parents gave us love, but also like how we know how to love ourselves. And I think the way that my dream reflected so beautifully, read me to fucking filth.
Yeah, literally.
Is how scared I am to receive love and how fearful I am of rejection. I'm frightened. A lot of my life, I live in fear for many different reasons. But I think when it comes to love, I think I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of losing my safety net, my emotional and physical safety net. And I think that has inhibited me and prohibited me from seeking out things that are actually healthy for me. And by being in a healthy romantic relationship or from having those experiences that are beneficial for me because of how scared I am.
Yeah.
And I was reading today this essay about self-actualization, which I sent to Yasmine, a scholarly article, and how self-actualization is basically this theory that was created by another man, but like he extrapolated on it, elaborated on it. His name is like Maslow. And this guy, the psychologist Maslow, or this philosophical psychologist, elaborated on this idea that self-actualization is realizing one's full fulfillment and full potential. And the only way to do that is by establishing or rather knocking down the incongruence between one's desires and their actions. And the only way to do that is by killing your defense mechanisms from achieving what you want. And my biggest defense mechanism, I think, is fear, and is fear of rejection. And so, anyway, to answer my own question, that's why I do think giving is easier, because in giving I have control. But
Absolutely.
In your guys' lives, like how do you feel like love has been the most meaningful for you? Or like what type of love has been the most meaningful for you or you've experienced?
May I say I really love that Buddhist principle that like you presented. Like this idea of us like finding like the darkest and like most vulnerable parts of ourselves and actually deciding to deal with it. Like that introspective characteristic is really difficult to have. And I think I still struggle with it. And I think it's really beautiful that
it is.
You're like doing your own due diligence and the inner work and the self-work, because that isn't easy. Like to take that journey.
I don't want to be like this, a theater bitch, but a great theater philosopher, Stanislavski, he made a pyramid And in order to be the best form of performer and best form of person, you have to work on oneself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all of your inner workings.
Mm-hmm.
And you just having that article, Josie, and sending it to me. And it's only a couple pages, but those taking that time of really investing in what am I afraid of? How can I be better? And how can I authentically, wholeheartedly love myself and love all the flaws and love all the fear and dance with the chaos? I feel like that leads you to giving and receiving love in a healthy way.
Yeah. And it's like that saying, like, the best love is self-love. But I think I'm having like a revelation as we talk.
Go on.
The love that I love least is my self-love. Like, if I had a pyramid, no, actually,
that shit would be on the bottom.
Actually, you guys know how I feel about romantic love. So actually, self-love and romantic love are in a dark place for me. I would try to run away from that for a really long time. And mind you, like, I know how important it is. Like, in the words of our mother, RuPaul, how the hell
that was really good.
Thank you so much. I watch a lot of Drag Race. How the hell you gonna love?
She's such an ally.
Fuck the both y'all. Say hi to Valentina.
Ally.
Pero I'm trying to quote one of the greatest philosophers of our time, RuPaul. How the hell you gonna love somebody else if you can't love yourself?
Can I get an amen up in here? Amen.
So I know how important it is, but it's probably, I struggle with it so much.
Yeah.
Just like loving myself, like, holistically, because I love other people way more than I love myself. I mean,
why do you think that is, though?
I guess the answer that I can muster up is because I think I was like in a state of survival with my family for a very long time.
Yeah.
That's just not something that you have the privilege to discuss a lot. Is like, how are we loving ourselves and self-care?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm being completely honest.
Did you meditate this morning? Like, did you journal?
Like I've said it before, I really thank God for my spirituality and like the fact that I've always prioritized having a relationship with something bigger than me, and that being the Lord, and having these principles that would guide me, and being like a servant to people is really important to me. But I think that lesson kind of got a little distorted when I was a kid, and I forgot the part where my body is a temple and I'm supposed to preserve myself as well, because that's also scripture, right? But I think I kind of just listened to like, just serve other people and love other people. And then I think that also, I would be remiss to not acknowledge that the way that I have difficulty loving myself is the way that I have difficulty loving people in a romantic way. Because I am super, super loving and profusely affectionate with my friends and with my family.
Yeah.
People know they are the center of my life. You guys know, like, I can tell you guys every second of the day, I adore you. My family is my everything. Like, I'm a auntie, I'm a godmother, and I take that so seriously. But romantic love, I was naive in the past, and I learned that it was rude because I would invalidate other people's experiences and their truths, because I was like, who the hell needs romantic love? Like, I spent most of my life being like, you don't need that. And I would tell other people that they don't need that, which was so rude. You know what I mean?
It's not rude. I don't think it's rude.
But that was my truth at the time. And
Well, I also think you said that out of spite, because I think you probably had a distorted view of like what that is.
For sure.
And I think that was probably your defense mechanism, was being like, why is this necessary? Why does this need to happen? And like, you were ignoring like your own needs.
I think still to this day, romantic love isn't the biggest priority for me, but I've learned that like, if I want to explore that, I deserve that. Whereas before I was just like, I don't have space for it. Thank God, grown in maturity, and I can't look other people in the face who are saying like, I yearn for a relationship, and tell them that they don't need that, because that's invalidating.
Yeah.
But that leads me like to a question. What are the differences in the way that you guys conceptualize romantic and familial and like platonic love? And right now, which one is most important to you? Because that can change as well.
When you say you have such a hard time with romantic love, I resonate with that, but for such a different reason. I know both of you guys are going to be like, yes. I invest everything so quickly.
Yeah, we're polar opposite in that.
I've literally met a guy one night, and I've texted Josie and Alycia separately and was like, I just found the love of my life. After like meeting him for an hour, and I'm like, this is the one. And
see, I'm so sorry. At first, I'd be so blunt with you, and I'm like, you don't know that man? Stop talking like that.
Which I don't. But for me, And so much, I used to just laugh it off. I used to be like, that's so funny. Oh my God, Yaz, like, haha. But I started thinking, and I think this was after recently, Josie, you and I got off a call and you asked me, you posed the question and you came at it with curiosity, not criticism. And you said, why do you invest and put all of your love in someone so quickly when they haven't earned that place in your life yet? And also, where's that energy with yourself? And I kind of just sat there and I'm like, I always have something to say. And I remember I told you, Joes, I was like, I don't have anything to say back to you. I don't have a reply for that. I don't. And I also think, for me, I just want to be loved. Don't we all, though?
But why do you think you crave so much of that? Like, overzealous, like...
It's love bombing. It's very intimate very quickly. With a lot of the people I end up with, like I remember my little fling a month ago. Yeah, that was a good word.
Even our crooked producers know about this fling.
No, I think
they met them.
No, literally, I think all of Los Angeles knows about this fling.
And whoever was in that hotel that night.
I cannot.
I think it's love bombing. And I think it's because I just want to feel loved and cared about, because I have been let down time and time again romantically.
Wait, you just such a good trigger word, love bombing. Have you guys ever love bombed / been love bombed?
In every relationship I've been in.
No, I think it's super important. Like, I think it's amazing that our generation has been given vernacular to empower us and to help us understand situations, especially traumatizing ones. But it scares me that we throw around terms like gaslighting and love bombing and then misconstrued it into different things. But to answer your question, yes, I have been love bombed. Yeah, I know. But I think like us as stewards of a platform.
100%. 100%.
But
just means like I've been love bombed. I've been real bombed.
Yeah.
My family's in Lebanon.
I can't.
I have. Josie, have you been love bombed / do you love bomb? Have you?
No, I've never love bombed anyone, and I've never been love bombed in a romantic way. I think I may have love bombed in a platonic way.
That exists.
But Alycia,
do you want me to expand on that? Yeah. I think I was love bombed, and ironically, on one of our dates, I was like, "Are you love bombing?" Because this man barely knew me, and I don't think that I know everything by any means. I'm young, I have a lot to learn, but I think I'm a pretty perceptive girl. And this person was talking about like visiting my country and meeting my family and wanting to get to know my friends better. And this is like one of the first times I spent alone with this person. And I was like, you are a beautiful soul. I enjoy your energy.
Yeah.
But I was like, you do not know me.
You also don't mean that.
You don't mean those words verbatim. I was like, and if you do mean it, it's on a surface level.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are too busy looking for love and looking for the right person rather than being the right person for themselves.
Wait, let's take a second let's say that exactly again.
You know what I mean? I think a lot of people
Go on.
are too worried looking for the right person rather than being the right person for themselves. And also, I think a lot of people are infatuated with the idea of love rather than what love actually means.
We romanticize...
Okay, wait. You just said a lot of things.
Yes, I did say a lot of things. But anyways, to answer your question, because I know that I can, like a train, my accent was going to come out.
No. I love all the things you said.
Yes.
But I want to ask you, and like, I know this answer, but maybe it'd help the audience know this answer. Like, when you were going through that, I remember you saying, you said this sentence every fucking day.
Every single day.
You said, this is a sentence that she said, you should have gotten tattooed on your calf. You said, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Like, you knew that it was coming. And as your friend, I felt torn because,
yes,
on one hand,
let's talk about it. Yeah.
On one hand, I see the things that he's doing. I see the things that he's saying. And yeah, I think that's fucking crazy that he wants to go to the Dominican Republic and visit your ancestral
family.
Grounds. But at the same time, here I have this friend, one of my best friends, my life partners, telling me that like she's having all these great experiences and I've never seen you like get excited about boys. Not that
Yeah.
like this is the first boy that's made you excited, but like certainly in our friendship, because I wasn't with you when you had your first boyfriend. And I felt at a crossroads because as much as I wanted to be like, okay, yeah, that's a little weird, at the same time, I wanted to be excited for you. And I felt that like maybe your defense mechanism was saying like, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. And so not to make it about me, but I'm just saying like in that moment, I felt that. Did you feel that turmoil as well?
Absolutely, because I was seeing you have that like inner dialogue, even though you weren't saying it.
Yeah.
Because I get it. All of my friends were like this. Well, first and foremost, because I understand I can turn into a beast sometimes when it comes to things I don't want to talk about. And romantic stuff is usually stuff I don't want to talk about. So all of you guys were like this the whole time. Like, we don't know what we can say to her, which makes me sad. I want people to be able to say whatever they want. But I understand that like on this topic,
But there are boundaries, and you have those.
yeah, they're boundaries. But anyways, to answer your question, I could see how a lot of the time you were like, I just want her to like finally let go. Because when it comes to men, like I am not trusting. I don't want to give them an opportunity. I like doing my own thing. So I saw you being like, yes, be protective of your heart, but like try to enjoy it. And then the other shoe did drop. But it was funny because I like during that entire process, I was like, he's an amazing person, but I see that a lot of this seems superficial. And it turned out to be, and that's okay. That's life. That's why we have experiences.
It's a learning curve.
But it was beautiful because you guys were just like, just lean into a little bit.
I
Because
remember-
I don't ever want to give men energy. But I could see like Josie as my best friend being like, just give it a chance. Because I think a part of my defense mechanism is just not even engaging in romantic love, which isn't healthy either.
Well, that leads me to, you brought up something that leads me to vulnerability. And I ask both of you, I pose this question of, do you feel like you guys are vulnerable people? How do you give vulnerability? Alycia is like smirking. Fuck off, please. And
She's
also
not vulnerable.
And why does vulnerability scare you if it does?
Josie?
Here's one thing about me. I saw a TikTok of Kate Hudson being like, "Can I order a dirty martini?"
Yes.
You're a
We
dirty
watched it
fucking
yesterday.
slut, pussy.
Hey, can I have a dirty martini? Can I have a filthy, dirty little martini? Can I have a little, like, slut muffin, dirty, sleazy martini? Can I have, like, a little whore cookie, skanky martini?
Oh my god, I'm so proud of Kate Hudson. Even though she was rude to me at a what is it called, a charity event once. She came up. I went up to her because we had the same styles at the time, which made no sense because I was like 10 years old, and also she was like a grown woman, and she was sitting in a chair. And I bent down to be like, "Excuse me," because I wanted to say hi to her. And she put her finger in my face and said, "Not now." And I looked at her dead in the eye and I said, "Not never." And I walked away.
So this is a public thing. Kate Hudson cannot be on this podcast.
Whoa.
No, she can't.
No, not ever.
Anyway, although I love Almost Famous, one of my favorite movies. But anyway, basically, and also the theme of my life. But basically, no one laughed at that. Wow. Okay, great.
Yeah, a
giggled.
swing and a miss, bitch. A swing and a miss.
Stop.
That
I
was
went-
almost funny. Anyway, so vulnerability for me in so many ways is something that I do all the time. It's something that I'm forced to do because I'm literally a trans person
Yep.
who transitioned in front
Public
of so many
eye,
people,
Yeah.
in front of the public eye. And I have to be vulnerable because
100%.
if I'm not vulnerable, who the fuck else is going to be? I didn't have so many people to look up to growing up.
Yeah.
To like, still now, I'm like, now that I'm like starting dating and all these things, I'm like, there's no guidebook. I was saying to like some of my cast the other day, they're like, "Oh, at what point do you usually say this and that about yourself?" And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, there's no textbook on this. There's no person that I could like ask about this. There's no TV show of someone doing this. Like, I feel like I'm living such uncharted territory. So vulnerability for me is something that I'm so often forced to do when it can help other people.
Yeah.
But I've realized recently that when vulnerability is hard for me, it's when it's in pursuit of something that is supposed to benefit me, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
And
yes, it does.
I guess I mean that vulnerability in romantic love is hard for me because that is something that I have to do for myself as opposed to like, I can gain strength by knowing that like, yes, I might feel uncomfortable about posting something about being trans on Instagram because this boy or that person or this would see it. Like, I'm sorry, that is something that comes in my head sometimes because I'm not a fully self-actualized person, Mr. fucking Maslow. But I do it because I have the strength by all the people that look up to me.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to, I have no strength for when it comes to doing it for myself, when it comes to like dating and that kind of thing. So that's when vulnerability becomes very hard for me. I know that was a very long-winded way of saying it.
And I think that goes back to what you said. First of all, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And B, I think that goes exactly back to what you said in the beginning, that you are so much better or more
inclined to do something
to give
for other people,
but not receive.
Yeah, because
I think that goes
exactly
exactly back to that.
Yeah. But I think it's also important to note that like you're forced into vulnerability sometimes, and that isn't fair.
Nope.
Like as much as I'm on a journey to be more vulnerable, because if you haven't caught wind by now, I'm not a vulnerable person. I think I'm very kind, but vulnerability is something I struggle with greatly, and the girls know. But their friendship directly in my life has made me more vulnerable, and I'm learning that it's okay for people to know things about me.
Yeah.
Not because I think I'm self-important. It's a toxic trait. I don't like people knowing things about me, but I think it's just because I'm a private person.
That's not toxic, though, but I don't think that's toxic.
Going back to that, no, I think it's also important to know as we talk about this journey about vulnerability and stuff, go at a pace that makes you feel comfortable. Don't force things to make other people happy. So yes, be vulnerable. Yes, grow. Yes, be willing to actually have beautiful, loving connections, platonic or romantic with people. But it's like we also shouldn't like forced ourselves to conform to other people's idea of love. So thank you for sharing that, Josie. Seriously.
Thank you, baby.
And you are on uncharted territories. Yeah.
You've always been the person to like not say things about you, or like I'd find out like, you know, I think that was something that was hard in our friendship. Was that like, and you can stop me for saying this,
No,
but like
please.
we would hang out for weeks, every day, spend every minute together, and I would find out that something bad had happened in your life or something weird had happened in your life. Like that happened months ago, and I didn't know that I could be there for you. And I think for a lot of times that can be difficult because like I think everyone just wants to love you and be there for you, but like you're not being vulnerable makes that hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But more so for yourself. And like, what do you think it is the main reason why you aren't vulnerable or like with the people around you?
I just want to point out one thing, that when you said we just want to love you, Josie, Alycia literally just like cracked a smile, and I almost thought you were going to start tearing up a bit. That was beautiful. And I mean that to Alycia. Like we love you. We want you to just be happy.
Thank you. That meant a lot. I'm not good at being vulnerable. I don't like crying. It's a very toxic trait. And I think I don't like getting my hopes up because people can't let me down. And I feel like showing people vulnerable parts of myself and letting people into my life in an intimate manner allows them to take stake in my life. And that means that I depend on them. And I am hyper independent, and I don't like depending on people. And I don't even fully understand why. I think it's because it's like I've been hurt in the past, and I've experienced like obviously hurtful things. We all have. And I think that it's easier to just not be vulnerable and have people not know things. And that's why I like my intimate circle. Like I love learning about people. I will talk to a random person for 7 hours, but to talk about myself is difficult. And also like it's just easier. It's easier for people to know me from a distance, and it's easier for me to play characters and perform and live in my passion without people knowing me in an intimate manner. Because also like
it's a survival mechanism.
Yeah. It's also just like
And
I think I've gotten pretty callous about vulnerable things in my life because of past experiences.
Yeah.
Because of just in ways that people have left or people have hurt or people have disregarded my feelings. So it's a lot easier for me to keep things close to the chest. But I think I'm definitely on a journey to still be vulnerable. I think I will leave this earth being super private about certain things.
And that's your right.
But no, I thank you guys. You guys challenge me and like hold me accountable and make me like feel okay to feel soft. And also like if I'm being honest as well, I think like growing up as being a part of my community, like you were told that you're not supposed to talk about certain things and that you aren't supposed to be vulnerable. And I think specifically like, you know, as a Black woman, like we're not given the space to be soft. And I think softness doesn't come easy to me sometimes. So, yeah.
Thank you for your candor and for your honesty, because what you did right now, like I'm so fucking proud of you for even just saying that. But like, more importantly, I want you to know that like it isn't your fault.
Yeah.
And it's not mine either. And it's not Yasmine's. It's not anyone listening to this. Like, our fear of being vulnerable, our bad relationship with vulnerability and receiving love and accepting it and maybe having a hard time giving it is not our fault. Like, we are put on this earth and we are dealt cards, and some are harder than others. And we recognize that, and we recognize the levels in that. But I think the only way to get through and to evolve is to accept that, like, you know, we're not the cause for this. And we shouldn't be blaming ourselves and by inflicting pain on ourselves for the circumstances that we've been put in that have allowed us or disallowed us to be authentic in certain ways and to be vulnerable in certain ways. It's not fair. And like, we deserve to be upset about that. And I don't want you to ever feel burdened by that. And I know that you probably do. And I want you to know that like, my love for you never wanes because of that. And it never has, and it never will. And I think I can speak for all of us in some ways, because I know you guys so well, but I'll just speak for myself so no one comes for me. There were so many times in my life where I didn't know that happiness or like contentness was a real thing. I think I viewed it, I think I still sort of view it as something that comes never, or, you know, after death. And I thought for a long time that I would never be able to enjoy anything or feel happiness or feel warm in my heart. And in so many ways that has changed. And in so many ways I've felt so much gratitude. I felt so much more comfortable in my skin. I felt like I've been able to receive love like none other now, more than ever. And I want to give people the hope that like, even by taking small steps of receiving love and whatever that means to you on the smallest level, of someone giving you a compliment and you not shrugging it off and just saying thank you, or someone telling you something about yourself and just wholeheartedly receiving it and knowing that like it will get better. Because I think for a lot of us, we didn't think that could happen, and we thought that life would just stop, but it hasn't stopped. And it's not going to.
It never will. Thank you for saying that. I think vulnerability is this, it's so scary because it's automatically the stakes are high. Automatically with vulnerability comes risk. And it's fearing. So, and I want to, for me, I pride myself on being vulnerable constantly and giving myself and letting myself be opened. And my heart is constantly open, which means I'm constantly getting a heartache, because that's the name of the game, and I understand that. And I think going back to culture, in the Arab community, you have to be tough. Don't cry about this, just tough it up. I also feel like as a woman in today, you're too soft if you cry. And like you guys both know, like I literally cry about everything. And it's just hard. And I feel like it's ever changing. And I feel like every day I wake up and I'm ready to be vulnerable with the world. And I'm ready to be vulnerable. But it just...
Well, can I say like something I've really learned from you guys, which I never thought like prior to like 2 years ago, is like vulnerability is a superpower.
It is a superpower.
Like the world tries to make us not vulnerable and like to guard our hearts and to be protective and stuff. But I think that encourages us. Like when you do that, it makes you jaded and it makes you callous. And then that inhibits your ability to create meaningful relationships with other people. I think vulnerability is powerful. And just speaking like to the community that shares these conversations with us, like I encourage you to lean into vulnerability and to lean into things that are scary and to love yourself wholeheartedly. And each day find something new about yourself to love that isn't just surface level. And I think that encourages you to love other people around you more authentically, to see things differently. May I just say, man, like, I love you guys.
I love
also,
you.
do I want to, like, murder you guys for making me cry? No, I'm just kidding.
This show is called Dare We Say, and I reckon we make some dares right now. I want all of us to dare ourselves, and this is not a planned thing. This yogi sentence just came into my head. I want all of us to make a dare for ourselves that we're going to do that has to do with vulnerability and receiving love, and I'll start. I am going to dare to trust myself more and know that I've built a safety net for myself to fall, and to be more fearless in that way. Alycia?
I dare myself to love authentically without immediately running away when things get scary. Does that?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I dare myself to be less avoidant.
Yes?
Yeah. I dare myself to prioritize my heart and my love for myself.
Yeah,
That was hard to
true.
say.
Yeah.
That was actually hard
Well,
to say.
And we dare you guys.
We dare you guys. Oh, hello. Why does it sound like we're reading a script? It sounds like we're reading a literal Elmo script right now.
This is so genuine and freaking gross.
Yes,
Like,
it is. So anyway, we dare you guys to make a dare of your own.
Whatever that be. And honestly, share it with us. Share it with your loved ones. Keep sharing it. We fucking love you. Love yourself. Have a good fucking day. Smash the subscribe button below to not miss a single thing of Dare We Say on YouTube.